In the depths of ancient history lies a tale of obedience, rebellion, and redemption, a story of a man chosen by God for a mission he dared to flee. This is the story of Jonah and the whale, one of the most captivating narratives from the Bible that has echoed through centuries. Jonah, son of Amittai, was a prophet in Israel, called by God to deliver a message of repentance to the people of Nineveh, a city notorious for its wickedness. But instead of heeding God's call, Jonah chose a different path that led him straight into the belly of a great fish. The story begins with God's direct command to Jonah: "Arise, go to Nineveh, that great city, and cry against it, for their wickedness has come up before me." Jonah, however, was not eager to accept this mission. Nineveh was not just any city, it was the capital of the Assyrian Empire, known for its brutality and sinfulness. Fearful of the task ahead and the possible danger he might face, Jonah decided to flee from the presence of the Lord. He traveled to Joppa, where he found a ship bound for Tarshish, a distant place far from Nineveh. In boarding the ship, Jonah believed he could escape God's command. But as we'll soon see, running from God is never a simple task. Jonah's decision to flee would lead him into a storm unlike any other. As the ship set sail, a great storm arose, so powerful that the sailors feared for their lives. They called upon their gods, each praying for deliverance, but the storm raged on. Jonah, meanwhile, was asleep below deck, unaware of the chaos above. The captain found Jonah and pleaded with him to pray to his God for mercy. The sailors, desperate to find the cause of the storm, cast lots, and the lot fell on Jonah, revealing him as the source of their troubles. Jonah confessed to the sailors that he was fleeing from the Lord's command, and that the storm was a divine consequence of his disobedience. He urged them to throw him into the sea, believing that his sacrifice would calm the storm and save their lives. With heavy hearts, the sailors did as Jonah instructed. They cast him into the sea, and immediately the storm ceased. The sudden calm left the sailors in awe, and they offered sacrifices to the Lord, recognizing his power. Jonah, now at the mercy of the sea, believed his fate was sealed, but God had other plans for his wayward prophet. As Jonah sank into the ocean, a great fish prepared by God swallowed him whole. For 3 days and 3 nights, Jonah remained in the belly of the fish, in complete darkness, surrounded by the sounds of the deep. Inside the fish, Jonah experienced a profound moment of reflection and repentance.
He prayed to the Lord, acknowledging his disobedience and expressing his gratitude for God's mercy in sparing his life.
In his prayer, Jonah recognized the futility of trying to escape God's will and vowed to fulfill his divine mission. Jonah's prayer is one of the most powerful moments in the story, capturing his journey from rebellion to submission. He realized that even in the depths of the sea, God's presence was with him, and that there was no place he could hide from the Almighty. After 3 days, the Lord commanded the fish to release Jonah, and it vomited him onto dry land. Jonah, humbled and renewed, now understood the importance of his mission and prepared to carry out God's command. Jonah made his way to Nineveh, great city that had initially struck fear into his heart. This time he was determined to deliver God's message no matter the cost. Jonah entered the city and began to preach, declaring, "Yet 40 days and Nineveh shall be overthrown." His words echoed through the streets, reaching the ears of every man, woman, and child in Nineveh. The people of Nineveh, known for their wickedness, were struck by Jonah's warning. They believed the words of the prophet and were filled with fear at the thought of impending divine judgment. News of Jonah's prophecy reached the king of Nineveh, who immediately took action. He rose from his throne, laid aside his royal garments, and covered himself with sackcloth, a symbol of mourning and repentance. The king issued a decree that all in the city, including the animals, should fast and be covered in sackcloth. He urged the people to cry out to God, to turn from their evil ways, and to seek his mercy, hoping that God would relent from his anger and spare the city. Jonah, having delivered his message, retreated to the outskirts of the city, where he waited to see if God would indeed destroy Nineveh. But what Jonah did not expect was the overwhelming power of God's mercy.